All right, everybody, welcome to episode 169 of Psycho's Platters. Always, of course, powered by coffee. So listen, if everybody remembers, you know what I want to throw out there real quick. If you haven't seen the video that I did for the Billy Hurst 200 VC subs video where it was the name game, go watch it. I think you probably will have yourself a little bit of amusing entertainment on that as well. It's about 20 minutes, so not too shabby, I think. So here's what we're doing. Like I said in the last video, 168, that was part 1. This is part 2 of the LP finds. These particular LP finds were all found within a week's time at an estate sale and a Goodwill that had all of this stuff combined. I want to throw out there the estate sale real quick. It was here locally in town in Northwest Arkansas, and I managed to make a friend who runs the estate sales. So from now on, I'm pretty much going to have an almost heads up thanks to this kind person, and I probably will be looking at least every week now for all the estate sale listings and see where that's going on that. I kind of had an amusing conversation with somebody at that estate sale who there was a pile of albums underneath the register, and I said, may I ask who's, are these for sale? And this guy off to the corner goes out and says, nope. I'm going, oh, they're yours. He goes, yeah, but I'm nosy. So I went off and I go, can I look at him for a second? And he goes, no. I'm going, and I turned to him, I'm going, really? Yeah, I just want to look at him. It's not like I'm going to go and damage him or mess him up. And eventually he goes off and he says, $3 a piece. I'm like, oh. I said, now I know the game we're playing. And I said that to him too. And I'm like, let me just see what you got. So he goes, all right, but I'm holding the albums. Great, beautiful. You can fold, spindle, mutilate them for all I care. I just am curious. The guy was, I couldn't tell if he was being serious or what, because he kind of had a slight frown on his face. I'm like, so I looked through all of them and I said, well, you know what? I said, here's what I'll tell you. You got yourself a nice pile of records. Congrats. You get to buy them all, I said, because I have 75% of what's in this pile, and the other 25% I could care less. So he thought he was being funny. He was, but Psycho here, it's okay. You know what? I ended up bumping into the guy maybe a couple days later, and him and I talked, and I'm supposed to hopefully get with him actually again real soon, because he may have some stuff for sale. I'm hoping so. This guy, I don't know, he likes 50s and 60s stuff like I do, okay? So, alright, this one here, I chronological, the first episode I did was from, the late 50s to the late 60s. This time around, it's late 60s to late 80s is what I've got. So right off the bat, from the estate sale, Harper's Bazaar, Anything Goes is the name of this one. Here's the front. This is the back. This is in stereo. So clean. All of these are incredibly clean. So Harper's Bazaar, yeah, you knew I was going to be doing research. Harper's Bazaar came out of the band The Tikis, which were on Autumn Records, 1965, 1966. They cut 2 singles there. 59th Street song, Feeling Groovy, for the Harper's Bazaar first album. I like that version. I really do. It was based on a Leon Russell arrangement. All right. Randy Newman was in the Tikis at one point. Yeah. And then the second LP here has standards and new songs by Randy Newman, Doug Kershaw, and Van Dyke Parks. So, it's kind of cool. I've never heard the second one, so I'll be enjoying on that one. Now, some of the things that I managed to snag, which I thought were interesting out of this estate sale that the other dude left behind, I got a bunch of soul and a little bit of jazz. So here's the first thing. I never saw this label before. Some of you people are probably going to go off and go, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it before, so I thought it was kind of awesome. On SSS, the album Soul Shake, Peggy Scott and JoJo Benson. This, like I said, this came out in '68. Lover's Holiday was number 8 on the R&B charts. Pickin' Wildberries, also number 8 on the R&B charts, 27 in pop. And Soul Shake, which is the title of this, 13 on the Rhythm and Blue chart and 37 in the pop chart. This is the front, this is the back. Now, like I said, looking at this, I had to get this just because of the cover. Here's the trippy label. I mean, for '68, I think this is pretty awesome. Now, what is SSS? It stands for Shelby Sumter Singleton. That is the guy who he got his start with Mercury Records in the '60s. And then he ended up having this label from 1966. He started it to about 71, 72, and then he kind of tapered off. David Allan Coe, some of his early albums came from there. And speaking of Chuck Berry, rest in peace, there is a live album from '75 that was on SSS. But for these two here, for Peggy Scott and JoJo Benson, they stayed together until 1971, and then they split. And then in the mid-'80s, they got back together for one more album. Benson, last album was in 2001, and for Peggy Scott, came back in the late '90s, and the last album was a 2009 gospel album. So like I said, Soul Shake. Can't wait to hear that. I haven't had a chance to hear any of this. Now, the next one, SSS label again, okay? But this time, 1969, Soul Gold Volume 1, that's right. Here's the front, here's the back showing a few albums. This is a gatefold, so it basically just shows all the pictures of the people. Now what I thought that was kind of cool on this bit, so you know, let me entertain you with a little bit on this stuff here. This is, of course, like I said, from the SSS International. Let me show you something else, though, which I thought was very awesome. Now, remember, I said this is 1969 it came out. White label promo in mono. White label promo in mono in mint condition. Totally awesome. This thing's in a Unipack. I don't know if I like Unipacks or not, to tell you the honest truth. But so who's on all of this? Well, other than, of course, Peggy Scott and JoJo Benson that I told you about before, you got Johnny Adams is on here. Johnny Adams had a minor hit on Rick Records in the early '60s. It was June of '62, A Losing Battle. It was number 27 on the R&B charts. He shows up here. He passed away in '98, but after he left SSS, he ended up on Atlantic, Areola, a few other labels. Mickey Murray got his start in 1967 with Shout Bamalama. He stayed there until 1970 and then jumped to Federal Records. Federal was reactivated and he stayed there till '72. He ended up having some disco singles in the mid-'70s. Syl Austin, he was on Mercury from '57 to '64, and he died in 2001. Big John Hamilton, late '60s soul singer, mostly for the Florida label Minaret. I hope I'm getting that right. Minaret or Minaret Records, '67 to '70. Johnny Soul. On here, he started out as Little Johnny Soul in the mid-'60s in Macon, Georgia. SSS in '69, Federal in '70. He's still around, go figure. And let's see here, Laura Green and Johnny Macinus. This is the weird thing about it. The song here that's on this thing was actually a single for the Silver Fox label in February 1969. Johnny's from Brooklyn, and Laura was from Cleveland. So, like I said, pretty cool to find this, especially in a mint white label promo from '69 in mono. Go figure. Next, the only jazz outing of the bunch on CTI, which is Creed Taylor's group, Creed Taylor International, Joe Farrell Outback is the name of this. This is a gatefold. Like I said, this is the only jazz album that I recall he had in the estate sale. It was kind of awesome. I got to show you this really quick. The whole picture of the lady is in here, okay? But on this album here, the only thing, there's a little bit of a, I don't know if it's a scuff or just a piece of plastic stuck on here, but like I said, the record's in mint. But Elvin Jones, Chick Corea, and Buster Williams. That's what your CTI looks like. But yeah, I mean, Joe, he ended up going all over the place. He played with Mose Allison, and he played with the Bee Gees, the Average White Band, the Band, etc. But he was a founding member, or original member of Chick Corea's Return to Forever. So I thought that was kind of cool too. Now we go off of that to the last couple here I've got from Goodwill. Like I said, all 80s. Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance. You know, this is a heck of a better copy. The front, the back. I love this. I do. But this one here, it was their 8th studio album. 5 million copies worldwide. This is what broke them out. 2 times platinum in the U.S., platinum in Canada, which is 100,000 copies qualifies for platinum. You've got another thing coming, which of course was the big hit off of this, was actually a last-minute addition, according to KK Downing. The band were happy with the album as is, but decided they could do one more song. Well, guess what? They guessed right, didn't they? Because I love that song. This is, like I said, the top most selling LP in their career. Now, I do want to show you something that I thought was kind of cool. I never, where is it? I never saw this. It's not in my album anyway. But I like finding the inserts. Yeah, an unscathed insert. What I like about this, though, is it actually has got for t-shirts and posters and stuff, but it also says here that item 15 was a Hellion picture disc. In other words, there's a picture disc of Screaming for Vengeance, or at least, you know, with this image. It says features live material and songs from your favorite Columbia albums in Design A only. So, does anybody out there happen to have the Hellion picture disc for Judas Priest? And if so, would you tell me what's on it? Because I'm kind of curious myself. But back then, the thing went for $12 plus $1.50 shipping and handling for 1982 prices. So I thought that was cool. From that too, on Target label, Legs Diamond. This is the front. This is the back. Of course, their album Out on Bail. I actually showed it like a bunch of episodes ago. This is the same band from the Mercury late 70s label output. They broke up in 80, got back together in 84. Now this is the US version of this album. Let me show you the Target label really quick. I don't know if you could see because of the bag, but it's silver pretty much. It's mint condition. It's awesome. But but this one here is the US version. The European version has 2 extra songs on it. But like I said, this is the 70s band that was on Mercury, but broke up in 80. They came back in 84, and they're still around today. 3/5 of the original band. So I thought that was kind of cool. To go from that to Saga. Now, I've never seen this album before. This is from 85. This is their Behavior album. It came out in August of 85. Because of the change in production and sound, going from prog to pop-based, it caused 2 members to be dismissed after the album's release. Yeah, and so the thing is that I like Saga, I really do. On the Loose, from Worlds Apart, that's what I remember them from. I think that was 81 or 82 that came out from then. And then I got Heads or Tails, I think is the name of the second one, where he's jumping through the hoop. but I've heard stuff off of that. MTV played those. I don't seem to remember this album. But this one here, of course, being on Portrait Records. But I'm glad to find that one too. And then lastly, this one I just couldn't get over, except for a slight bend, slight crease in the corner. Dio's Dream Evil. That's right. I love Dio's music. I just never saw a vinyl copy of this. This is the front. This is the back. On beautiful Warner Brothers. Here's the inner sleeve for that. I'll show you the record. Why not? Beautiful, beautiful shape on this one. But like I said, this came out in July of '87. Warner in the U.S., Vertigo in the rest of the world. I would love to find some of the Vertigo pressings of Dio's material. But yeah, so with this one here, you have a new addition to the band, sort of. I mean, he was on Intermission from '86, but this is Craig Goldie's first album with Dio. He originally, came from Rough Cut and Jafria. That was where he came from on that bit. This would be the last album to feature Murray. That's this dude, the one that's peeking through the window. I didn't know that was his name. But Murray on the cover, and the last album for Vinny Appice till 1993 he'd come back. It's also the last LP for Jimmy Bain, who, Dio was, knew him in Rainbow, and of course he was with them in, since the beginning of the Dio band. But he'd come back in 2000. Goldie does come back in 2000, and then 2004 for the Master of the Moon album, if I remember correctly. I Could Have Been a Dreamer was the main single off of this. Billboard went to 33, and the UK it was 69. The album here, 43 on Billboard, 8 in the UK, but one of its biggest chartings was number 4 in Sweden. So I am happy to have this. Anybody tell me in the comments below, please, 1990 would be the next Dio album, Lock Up the Wolves? Now, that came out on Reprise in March of '90. Was that put on vinyl? I've never seen it, if that's the case. I would love to get a copy of that, too. New subs since last episode, the Vinyl Hunters. Go check out that channel. It's a husband and wife. They're awesome. They've got about 19 episodes. I'm not sure. Well, I kind of have a feeling I know where they're from. I think they're in Ohio, based on something they gave me a hint on. But they're out of Ohio. Awesome videos. Seriously, I like them. Naz Nomad, another one. I like him. I'll tell you, it's just very cool stuff. I always, like, whenever he puts new one out, boom, I'm there. Hippie DJ Kit is another one, and BJ Swarner. Those are my new subs for the week. Wax Museum with Ronnie Dark and Night Owl Lounge, 6 to 9 and 9 to 10 p.m. Central Standard Times, WVOA, Syracuse Radio. Go listen to them like I do on Uber stations, but there's other ways you can listen to. Let's see, Thrifty Music Collector, Tim Smith and Company. Shindig, Best Damn English Rock Magazine, out there, period. Vinyl Grotto. Yeah. Alright, I'll let the cat out of the bag. Me and Dougie Fields. Yes, Dougie Fresh. We're both going to be doing a video or two coming soon. You guys seem to like when we end up doing videos together. I can't keep secrets really well, can I? But I'm not going to tell you when that's happening or what the shows are. We're looking at 2 different ones. And I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Happy birthday, Mike Bolia. I know your birthday was this week. And once again, rest in peace, Chuck. Chuck Berry, one of my favorites. But YouTube Vinyl Community. Without the YouTube Vinyl Community, we wouldn't be able to do these videos. Records and Coffee, go check out that group too. I'm done, I think. So let's see. Until next episode, what's next episode going to be? I'm going to do a sealed reveal on the new Davy Jones single from 7A Records. Should have known a monkey thing was coming up. Alright, guys. I love you, VC. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you next time.